Good afternoon. I'm James Abruzzo, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the session Towards the Greater Good: How Science Center Leaders Change Society. A scheduling conflict prevents me from being here in person, and I deeply appreciate Leslie Lewis's stepping into my role. I'm thankful for the opportunity to appear before you on video. Last year, at a conference session of the Aztec, I suggested that Science Center leaders have the potential to positively influence society beyond their institution's goals towards the greater good of their communities and the world. That the role and responsibility of the Science Center leader were broader than sustaining the institution, creating an organization, and achieving global recognition. I asked panelists to address the question of the role of the Science Center leader in changing society. Some deemed the topic merited a, quote, deeper dive, and thus this session. I arrive at the question of how Science Center leaders change society from two perspectives. As managing director of the nonprofit practice of DHR International, a global executive search firm with offices in 50 countries, I have, for dozens of years, worked with science centers across the world, from New Zealand to London and throughout the U.S. I have witnessed firsthand what boards of directors and governments are seeking in a leader and how they evaluate science center leaders. As co-director of the Institute for Ethical Leadership at Rutgers Business School, I am involved in teaching, convening, and researching the topics of ethics and ethical leadership in government, business, and the non-governmental sectors. Before I introduce your moderator, allow me to frame the issues from my perspective. Because the study of science can be and should be nonpartisan and disinterested, the leaders of science centers have an ethical responsibility to seek out and accurately address controversial issues through the platform offered them by their institution. However, financial stability is a growing concern for science center leaders. A number of factors have caused this: growing competition for media attention, alternate educational outlets, for-profit institutions, and visitors' discretionary entertainment dollars. And there is increased operating and capital costs combined with cuts in support. Boards demand financial stability. The ability of the institution to stay refreshed requires it, and the public takes notice of it. I believe because of these pressures, some science center leaders are forced to concentrate on, in fact, are preoccupied with, sustaining the organization's financial health. Science center boards demand a leader who can demonstrate an ability to balance the budget, raise resources, and select and market exhibitions that attract visitors. Sometimes boards may be interested in professional credentials, trained scientists, but more often boards seek someone to only meet the business needs of the organization. However, the Science Center leader has a much more important task. The writer James McGregor Burns wrote, "The effectiveness of a leader must be judged by the actual social change measured by intent and the satisfaction of human needs in exhibitions." The Science Center leader has two responsibilities: to the institution and to the community. On a personal level, the leader must hold herself to higher standards of ethics, empathy, service to self, family, and community, generosity of spirit, and a disinterested, non-political view of the world. The best leaders are they who live by their values, who are the mentors, spokespersons for the field, community volunteers who are models of leadership. And there is an important other responsibility: to foster an environment that encourages scientific inquiry and attracts and supports that inquiry. To create an institution whose intent goes beyond the teaching of STEM and beyond exposing visitors to the wonders of science, to create an institution whose intent is to change how we think about the world and therefore change society. Emmeline Coster, quoting Harold Scramstead, wrote, "To engage actively in the design and delivery of experiences that have the power to inspire and change the way people see the world and their possibility of their own lives." The formula is simple but challenging. Ethical responsibility to embody truth, courage to disseminate knowledge, and leadership to influence others to follow. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the moderator for the panel, who will introduce the other panelists and lead the discussion. Leslie Lewis is CEO of the Ontario Science Centre. She was immediate president of the board of directors of the Association of Science and Technology Centers in Washington, D.C., and chair of the 5th Science Center World Congress. Over the past 5 years, Ms. Lewis has been active in international forums, speaking on the changes underway at the Ontario Science Centre and the evolution of a new model for public engagement with science. She was on the International Science Advisory Committee for the China Association for Science and Technology for a new technology and science museum opened in Beijing in 2009. As I will not be here to further explain myself, I am comforted by the fact that you will hear from experienced ethical leaders whose influence is felt globally. Thank you.